This is the very last video, and what I want to show you is I went ahead and put in the second coat of the white, the second coat of everything I had already done. I left the branches alone. Now, this is the Sharpie part. If you have time to use a Sharpie, if your parents are okay with using a Sharpie, remember it's permanent. You cannot change it. You don't want to do Sharpie ever on wet paint. If you do Sharpie on wet paint, you'll ruin your project. So this is something that you can always do at home later, but I want to show you what to do. See how right here I was testing that Sharpie? And when you're doing a Sharpie on paint, sometimes it ruins the Sharpie. You never want to press hard, okay? Just real gentle, little tiny strokes. Something that I want to show you is I added stars. I told you that mine was going to be at night. If you ever, a really easy way to add a star is you would just take the end of, well, let me use one that's not yellow. You would take the end of any kind of paintbrush, choose what you want, just a little bit of paint, and all you do is dab. It's just kind of like pointillism. Now, stars are not like snow. When I had the first graders or second graders paint snow, talked about how you would put snow on top of the object, not like you have a wall. These are stars. You would not find stars on your owl. Okay. The other thing that I talked to you about is the little white dot. You could do the same thing. See if I can find some white in here for the eye. Oh, I might have to get some more. Let me get some more white to show you. So you would take and do white, just a tiny little bit, and all you want is a little dot. That is where the light reflects. There you go, in the owl's eye. And that is just with using the end of it. And you wipe it off. Something that will be very helpful tonight, when you are done, if you could make sure that you clean up your brushes. Do not leave them in the water. You dry them off really good. Don't wring them out. We talk about that in the art room, how you reshape it and just set those in a pile. If you didn't use the paintbrushes, then set them in another pile. If they're still, like I said, if they're dirty, we can clean them, but it would be helpful if you could do that. And you can take your sketches home with you. Now with the Sharpie, what I want to show you, if you want to outline your branch, you can. I'm not worried about it. You can paint this, but it's a lot easier to use a Sharpie. I'm going to bring in and do some, see, I'm not even pressing hard and go all the way to the edge. I'm bringing in a pattern to put on my owl, on his little wings. Now, if you notice, I outlined all the way around. See how it just really makes that owl pop? I put little nostril holes on the owl. I put little lines on his tummy to give it texture. We've talked about texture in the classroom. Now see how that's not going over that? It's not wet, but just from going over that, I use this piece on here, which is fine. You don't want to press hard on there. Now, I wouldn't suggest using a different pattern on the other wing. However, if that's something you want to do, go ahead. See how I've got where this one comes right in here? Basically, the same thing. It's symmetrical, meaning it's the same thing on the left side as it is on the right. So, that is my owl. And thank you once again for coming. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I would add. I don't think so. Sometimes as an artist, you want to think about less is more, meaning you don't need a bunch of stuff on there. Oh, I know what. There's one thing I always tell my artists to sign their signature, and you can do it as fancy as you want. You can always put the year. I put 18 when it's done. So there's my owl. Thank you for joining us this evening.